So, no, Juan de la Cruz is not qualified to apply the privilege of probation because according to the Section 24 of RA 9165 or the Comprehensive Drugs Act of 2002, any person convicted for drug trafficking or poaching under this act, regardless of the penalty imposed by the court, cannot avail of the privilege granted by the probation law or the presidential decree as amended.
We shall remain firm in our response to question number 1, where Ms. Mendez answers no, where she cites the Section 24 of RA 9165 entitled Comprehensive Dangerous Act of 2002 as her legal basis, where it states that non-applicability of the probation law for drug traffickers and pushers. Any person convicted for drug trafficking or pushing under this act, regardless of the penalty imposed by the court, cannot avail of the privilege granted by the probation law or Presidential Decree number 968 as amended. We also rely on Section 5 of the RA 9165 for a fuller justification of our answer, where thus Juan de la Cruz drug pushing lawsuit stand. According to Section 5, sale, trading, administration, dispensation, delivery, distribution, and transportation of dangerous drugs and or controlled precursors and essential chemicals is stated that the penalty of life imprisonment to death and a fine ranging from 500,000 pesos to 10 million pesos shall be imposed upon any person who unless authorized by law, shall sell, trade, administer, dispense, deliver, give away to another, distribute, dispatch, in transit or transport, any dangerous drugs including any and all species of opium, poppy, regardless of the quantity and purity involved, or shall act as a broker in any of such transactions.
For further elaboration of what Ms. Estrada states, we will involve the Section 9 of the Presidential Decree number 968, otherwise known the Probation Law of 1976, to support our answer regarding to the question. This section cites the factors that affect the qualification of an offender for probation, where it states that the benefit of this decree shall not be extended to those sentenced to serve a maximum term of imprisonment of more than 6 years. With those legal basis, we concluded that Juan de la Cruz is ineligible to apply for privilege of probation because of the penalty imposed of RA 9165 to the accused disregarded his qualification to apply for probation according to the provision of Section 9 of Presidential Decree 968.
What if Juan de la Cruz is considered first-time minor offender under RA 9165 and the decision of the Court of Appeals is to sustain the penalty of 4 years to 8 years of imprisonment? What could be your answer regarding his qualification for probation privilege?
So, as my answer on the question number 3 is, I can say that even Juan de la Cruz is considered a first-timer offender, but the Court of Appeals said that to sustain 4 years to 8 years of imprisonment, he will not be qualified for the probation privilege because the benefit of the probation shall not be granted to the following disqualified offenders, which is those who have been sentenced to serve a maximum term imprisonment of more than 6 years.
Hello, my name is Matthews King Perez, BS Cream 3 Alpha, and the question was assigned to me was number 4. If ever Juan de la Cruz was sentenced before the effectivity of Republic Act number 10707, is he qualified to the privilege of probation law? My answer was yung Juan de la Cruz was eligible or qualified to the probation law or the Presidential Decree number 968, which stated in Section 4, Paragraph 2, probation may be granted whether the sentence imposed a term of imprisonment or a fine only. Yeah. And because the penalty imposed or gave to Juan de la Cruz was imprisonment of 4 years as minimum to 8 years as maximum, and he appealed in the Court of Appeals, which reduces the sentence to 3 years as minimum to 6 years as maximum, and so Juan de la Cruz was qualified to the privilege of probation law.
Good day, my name is Piolo Diclaton, and I am assigned in the continued question of Matthews King Perez, which is, what are the implications of RA 10707 to Juan de la Cruz application for probation if ever it is still pending for court's decision? So, the implications of RA 10707 to Juan de la Cruz is under Section number 4 in Republic Act number 10707 is grant for probation, Section number 4. Subject to the provisions of this decree, the trial court may, after it shall have convicted and sentenced a defendant for probational penalty and upon application by said defendant within the period of perfecting an appeal. So, in the case of Juan de la Cruz, the case must still pending. So, which is, he may go for the application in the probation. Suspend the execution of the sentence and place the defendant on probation for such period upon such term and condition as it may be deemed best. No application for probation shall be entertained or granted if the defendant has perfected the appeal from the judgment of conviction. So, the judgment of conviction in Juan de la Cruz is still pending. So, in this case, he may apply in probation, which is in I said earlier, no application for probation shall be entertained or granted if the defendant has perfected, which is dun niya kay Juan de la Cruz, hindi pa perfect, which is still pending. Provided that when a judgment of conviction imposing a non-probational penalty is appealed or reviewed and such judgment is modified through the imposition of a probational penalty, the defendant shall be allowed to apply for probation based on the modified decision before such decisions becomes final. The application for probation based on the modified decision shall be filed in the trial court where the judgment of conviction imposing a non-probational penalty was rendered, or in the trial or court where such case has since been reaffled in a case involving several defendants where some have taken further appeal. The other defendants may apply for probation by submitting a written application and attaching thereto certificate due copy of the judgment of conviction. So, in the Juan de la Cruz case, in this case, it is modified, kumbaga na-modified yung sentence, which is para maging probationable. Doon kasi kay Juan de la Cruz, hindi siya probationable kailangan pang gawing probationable para makapag-apply ng probation. Then, doon kasi sa case ni Juan de la Cruz, nag-apply siya nag-appeal siya sa korte, which is pinababa niya yung kanyang sentence na yung sentence na kanyang kumbaga kanyang pagdadaanan, which is 6 years lang yung pinakamataas. Ang pasok dito ang pasok dito sa for granting a probation, kailangan 6 years ang pinakamataas. At dito in the case of Juan de la Cruz, 8 years yung pinakamataas. Kung 8 years yung pinakamataas. So, kailangan pa niyang ma-modify yung kanyang sentence o gawing 6 years para siya ay makapag-appeal. So, itong section number 4 for grant of probation, which is na-amends na ng RA 10707 yung Presidential Decree 968. So, ito yung sagot ko. Thank you.